Hi, everybody. Dr. Albert Snow here. I'm a holistic gastroenterologist. I invented the GI Cure and the GI Cure protocol. If you don't know anything about it, you're one of the few nowadays. I mean, it's the rage. What is it? I'm not going to talk about that exclusively here. I just wanted to let you know what it is. It's the only holistic protocol, which means it's the only protocol of any kind that actually heals inflammatory bowel conditions, IBS, colitis, Crohn's, gastritis, you name it. I don't let anybody know this, but don't tell anybody. I also treat acid reflux, but it's a pain in the neck. As I tell people, I hate treating it because it can be finicky. So while I'm treating you, I'm hating you at the same time. Once it's successful, we hug again. I love you. But while I'm treating you, I'll hold a grudge against you. Okay? I won't charge you for it though. The GI Cure. It actually heals the tissue by putting down the mucosal lining, rebuilding the skin, fat, and muscle, covering and protecting the nerves and blood vessels. That's what it does, and it's the real deal. And I'm very proud of it. And everybody gets healed. I usually predict it'll take 90 to 120 days. Sometimes it takes longer. Some people it'll take 2 years. I have a couple of people that maybe 2 years, but they're like 98% better. They're frustrated that about that 2%, which is oftentimes more difficult to treat than the other 98%. So I forget what I was going to talk about, so I'll have to think of something on the fly here. What was it? I'm going to talk about Remicade for a minute. Why do we like Remicade and any of the drugs like it? Why do I say, bring on the Remicade, we love the Remicade? Now remember, I'm the guy that says things that you never heard before. They're not just things you haven't heard before, they're right and they're real. Did you ever have a naturopath tell you that he's happy that you're taking Remicade? Did she ever say, I'm glad you're taking prednisone? No, of course not. The naturopaths that you're going to run to, they don't know anything about how to fix a gastrointestinal problem. At best, they're going to try to make you comfortable. I go for the bullseye. Every single word I say is heading for the bullseye. I'm not interested in getting 5 points here, 1 point there. I want the 100 points bullseye. And so what I realized was, all you people out there are taking the medications. Can we turn that into an asset? Okay, just remind me what I was originally going to talk about. I'll finish this thought. It's an asset because what you're dealing with extraordinarily high levels of inflammation that are totally unnatural. It's like the climate change we have now. It's like a tsunami. Okay, any of the extremes is that nature does not go to that extreme on its own. It needed our contribution. Well, the contribution we have is that, first of all, we took an antibiotic, wiped out our mucosal lining, leaving a totally unnatural environment. No time in history was the whole thing wiped out and all that tissue exposed to our digestive acids. Okay? And then that causes the reaction of extreme levels of inflammation, which aren't natural. Then the natural stuff says, it's looking up like a tsunami. It says, what am I supposed to do with that? Because the natural stuff was developed over millions of years to deal with natural levels of maladies, not these crazy, 9-foot waves of inflammation. So what do? We're here and now. I mean, we can't do anything about it. Give us some prednisone, please. What's that do? Lower the inflammation down. It's like having a giant fence brought way down to just a 1-foot fence. Now the natural stuff can climb over that easy enough, step right over it, and do its thing. So I don't tell anybody to go get prednisone. I always say, oh, great, you're on it. They'd never heard anyone say that before. Oh, great, you're on the prednisone. Or the Remicade. It lowers the inflammation, and you're not going to get healed as rapidly. When you lower that down, first of all, when you're on Remicade, you're in a state you're never going to heal. You have to make some move. I guess if you're 89 years old, who cares? But if you're 19, like the patient I had today, we don't want our beautiful 19-year-old daughter to be on an immune suppressant the rest of her life. There's a vaccine, or I should say there's a virus out there, whether you choose the vaccine or not. You're going to suppress this person's immune system the rest of their life. What about the toxicity of the drug? Does it become toxic after 50 years? No. We want you on and off of it. We want you on and off. We say, hey, hallelujah, glad you're on it. Let's take advantage of it and get rid of it. Because what it does, it lowers that inflammation, which is really the enemy of the natural remedies. They don't do well against extreme inflammation. They can't stop pain on the spot. That's why I'll tell people, take some Tylenol, and they're all freaked out. They don't understand. Tylenol does nothing. I mean, to damage your kidneys or liver, you'd have to take a lot. But I'm talking about taking 2 tablets to get you through the night, and maybe 2 the next day. But medications have assets. Everything I do, I turn into an asset. I say, now what about that can we use? I turn it upside down, inside out, and because that's what you have on your plate, I say, let's chew it, get the benefit out of it, swallow it, eliminate it. I'm up to anything. I'm open to anything. I would have been great as the early homeopaths. They used to feed these people wild stuff, spider webs, and you name it. They were on a quest to put everything there is in your body, and then they observed and said, okay, let's see what happens to this guy. I'm not quite that brave. But what I was originally going to say is apple cider vinegar, digestive enzymes. So the question is, how do we speed up our inflammatory bowel condition, make it worse? How do we get a bigger ulcer? How do we turn our IBS into colitis or Crohn's? Those are a lot of questions, and the answer is drink apple cider vinegar and take digestive enzymes. Now, just like I said a couple of quick hitters ago, I said things can only have an influence on your GI tract if you have a thin layer or no mucosal lining. So when you're drinking the apple cider vinegar, you might say, it doesn't bother me. Well, that's kind of unusual, but that's because you have a nice thick mucosal lining and you don't really need it. When you have a thick layer of a Vaseline-looking mucosal lining, you don't need whatever the digestive enzyme would give you. Apple cider vinegar. You know what you're drinking? Acid. So if you have a tissue that's exposed, like in your esophagus or your stomach or your bowel, do you want to pour acid on it? See, there are people out there writing stuff on the internet, and you have to believe they sell apple cider vinegar. I mean, why else would someone say that? I know it's not been everybody, but I know most of the people by far who have said, they'll tell me, I drank the apple cider vinegar, what a disaster. Or they'll say, I started taking the digestive enzymes, I started bleeding. Because the digestive enzymes are going to find that spot that has no protection, and they're going to digest that skin. The apple cider vinegar, if it doesn't do that, I'm surprised. If you have the experience, that means you're not in really good shape, because it means that you are having enough damage in there that you don't even feel the discomfort from the acid burning the GI tract, and that can be a bad thing. I want to talk about that right now. If you have like acid reflux, it's really killing you, and then all of a sudden one day it seems to go away, that's not a hallelujah moment. That could mean that you have enough scar tissue down there now, up there now, to deny access of the, what do you want to say, digestive enzymes, apple cider vinegar, your own enzymes. When you use those and you use a drug, you're suppressing the symptoms, or most of them, but you don't realize what's really going on. There's always more damage than you're being notified of. So you're taking a drug that shuts down the symptoms. You don't realize your body's producing a huge mass of calluses in there that are semi or pre-stage for scars. So you don't realize it. So when you're taking a drug or not with acid reflux, you don't want to just stop cold all of a sudden one day, because that means you have a nice thick layer of scar tissue over the area. You don't want that. That means you have to vomit everything, because you won't be able to swallow it. You might chew it, taste good, swallow it, it won't make it past the narrowing of the esophagus. So those are quick hitters for today. I just want to give an example of what I do as soon as I get inspired, usually by you. I talk about something because I don't have an opinion on everything, but I can apply my GI Cure principles to everything. Everything that has a cell can be improved upon by my protocol. You've never heard anybody say that before. It's true. When we extrapolate, I didn't just develop the GI Cure and have fixed, I don't know if it's millions, hundreds of thousands of colons. I've also secondarily cleared up more sinus problems, more skin issues, not always, more arthritis, you name it, by the nature of the protocol is that it goes in and it fixes all the mucous membranes. Look up what the mucous membranes are. And if you want to improve it, you'll say, well, I'm doing Dr. Snow's IBS protocol. Oh, you have IBS? No, I have a sinus problem. Well, why are you taking that? Because he says if you have a sinus problem, you have IBS of the sinus. But then again, you could have a sinus problem like allergies of the bowel. Interchangeable. So you get more for your money is that you say, well, I no longer have those migraine headaches. It definitely happens a lot.